going to be building this PC from scratch, and the main use for it is going to be high quality streaming and video editing, all things mixed in with that. So we have some pretty powerful components to go with that. For the case, I went with the phanteks Enthoo Pro. I like it because it's quite large. I'll be able to get a lot of airflow through it, so it'll be able to stay cool, and I'll be able to fit big components in it like the 3080 graphics card and the big CPU cooler. It also has really good cable management in the back, so you have lots of cable tie downs and places to put cables through. And the PCU is going to be hidden underneath here, and you can run the wires behind it so they're not going to be in front, and it'll just look really clean on the front. For the motherboard, I went with the Aorus Z590, and the reason I went with this one is because it has 3 full-speed PCIe ports. So one of them I'm going to put the graphics card in, probably the top slot, and then right below it I'm going to put the Blackmagic DeckLink 4K, which is a capture card. I'll be able to plug one of my cameras in that will have 4K running straight into it, and then it'll process that, and it needs to have full lanes running to the CPU so I can process that in the computer. Like if you wanted to have that running directly into a stream, I'll be able to plug in here or right into a video output, and it'll be able to process 4K video flowing through it. Paired with the motherboard, I have a 10th gen Core i7, which is the i7-10700K, 3.8 gigahertz per core, which is going to be a pretty fast processor. 1 terabyte of internal PCIe NVMe storage, like the M.2, which is going to be really fast, and then 32 gigabytes of RAM. And the power supply is just a 1000 watt power supply. Should be plenty to power all of these components. And we've got cooling stuff. These are some Noctua fans, which are known for being high quality and quiet, which is one thing that's important in this PC, that it's quiet. The Noctua D15 cooler, it's just a tried and true cooler. It keeps things ice cold. It's big, but it does its job really well. And then this is just a heat sink cover that makes the top of it look a little nicer. And for the peripherals, it's really just comes down to preference. I got the Logitech MX series keyboard and the Logitech G502 mouse. Lots of multimedia buttons. It's really pretty universal, and the keyboard is just a good one. And we'll start putting some things in. A lot of the panels on this case are removable, so you have a lot more room to work. Just starting to get some of these fans mounted and plugged in everywhere. I have the motherboard screwed in, the CPU installed, and the RAM plugged in as well. Just slowly starting to get everything plugged in. I have the SDI capture card plugged in, starting to get the power plugged in to the power supply. This cord's running behind the back. This is the main one that runs to the motherboard, and there's a few more that need to be plugged in. Now I've got everything in there. The power supply is installed, all the cables are routed through the back, everything's plugged in, and we'll go ahead and turn it on. On the inside, so far everything's pretty simplistic. We have the one light on the GPU and then a little light on the edge of the motherboard. I like the whole style of it. It's very black, it's sleek. You don't see much, it's not meant to be flashy. Really, I favored practicality. We have the fans on the CPU cooler, which is gonna be pretty quiet, and a lot of Noctua fans everywhere else. It's pretty loud right now because everything is just turned on full blast. I haven't had time to go in to program it. I haven't installed the operating system on it yet either. So this is just what it would sound like when it's at full power pretty much.